Hey friends, today we are going to start our unit of inferencing. And before I start talking about what it means to have an inference, I want to review our 3 different types of voices that we have learned over the past 2 weeks. The first voice that we learned about is our reading voice. And our reading voice is the voice of when we read a book. It is what we see, and it can be the words we read. Okay, our thinking voice is more than just what we see and what we hear. Our thinking voice is what we wonder, or maybe what we can assume. We may have a question about our reading voice of what we see, and we can assume on what we think. And that's what we're going to be getting into this week, which is called inferencing. The last voice that we learned about is our distracting voice. And something that is very, very important with our distracting voice is that when we have thoughts that are not about the reading, we have to stop and we need to reread the words. Okay? You have to stop and reread. So this week and next week, we're going to talk about inferencing. And one really important thing is that readers make inferences. Readers make inferences. Let me get rid of this little squiggly line. And ways that readers make inferences is first we read a book, and sometimes we have a question about it. And so what we do is we read that book, we use our reading voice, and we take the words that we are reading and what we can say, and then we take our thinking voice and we try to think what those words mean, and altogether that equals an inference. And if you look at my little head here, our head here has some words in the middle. And what happens is when we read, we take a detail, and then we have another detail, and then we have another detail, and with those details, we may see a pattern. I may be reading a book about elephants, and I may see a pattern of the elephants with the details. I might see that there's a pattern here that the elephants are very loyal to each other, because I have this detail here, I have another detail of them sticking up for each other, I have a detail here that when there's babies, that the elephants are loyal and they'll stick around and make sure that baby's not in danger, and together I can infer that based off these reasons that these elephants are staying close to each other, I can infer that they are loyal animals, okay? We take our thinking and we have patterns. Another way that we may be able to infer is with our memories, okay? You may see a picture of a Christmas tree and presents and children in their pajamas, and we can infer that that picture was taken on Christmas Day. It doesn't tell us that it was on Christmas Day, but with our memories, we can infer that that picture was on Christmas. And the last thing that we can do when thinking is with relationship, okay? And what I mean by that is it's kind of like, oh, I know this detail, and they kind of relate to each other. You may read a story and you have a chapter book with a character, and this character you can connect some of the details together. And with those details being connected together as a relationship, you can infer a new thought about that character. And that is what we are going to be doing today. We are going to learn how to take what we read, connect it with our reading voice and our thinking voice, and together, adding all that up together, we can make an inference. And like I said, readers make inferences. To be a good reader, you need to know how to inference. And trust me, you will be using inferencing as an adult as well. It helps you understand the story better, and it makes reading more fun. All right, let's go ahead and jump into it. So, I have here a picture, and I have some questions to help us start with our reading and thinking voice. Now, with our reading voice, we're not actually going to read. We're just going to look at the picture and make some notes of what we can see, okay? Right now, I see a man and a woman. I see helmets on their head. I see that they have things on their hands. And I see the woman, she's holding something on the man's elbow. That is me using my reader's voice. My reader's voice is telling me what I see. My reader's voice is not telling me how I think the man and woman feel. That's going to be using my thinking voice. Now, my reader's voice does tell me that the man, I can see his teeth and his eyes are closed and he's holding his elbow. And the woman here, she has a different face than the man. Interesting. So our first question here is, how does the man feel? And using my reader's voice and what I can see, I can use my thinking voice and think, I think the man, he's not feeling very well. He looks hurt. He looks like he's grabbing his teeth, kind of like, ooh, that's what I think of the sound that he makes. His eyes are closed, so he probably doesn't want to look and see what happens. He looks like he's in pain. I'm going to make a quick note right here and write pain. Second question, what is the woman doing? This question here is asking us to use our reading voice, but I can use my thinking voice based on what I used for the first question. The woman here is holding looks like maybe a Kleenex or a paper towel up to the man's elbow, and I think she's trying to help him because he's in pain. I'm going to write here that she is helping. Third question, what happened to him? Ooh, this is a good question. I see they're wearing helmets here and something on their hands, and I don't really see anything in the background. I see some trees, looks like some buildings, this may be a hill or something, some more tree-like stuff, but I don't see anything else. But I know that when I go on bike rides, I wear a helmet, and I know that my friend's dad, he loves to ride bikes, and he usually has stuff like this on his hands because it helps them with their wrist, and it helps them ride their bikes for hours at a time. Crazy people like to do that. And so I'm going to guess that they were riding bikes. But also, you don't ride a bike and then when you're done, you don't hold your elbow. So I'm going to have to make, with my thinking voice, I think that maybe he fell off his bike. I think he fell off his bike. Because if you just rode your bike and then you got off, I don't think you'd be doing that. All right, last question here is, which picture details were the most, I can't read this because my things are in the way. What picture details were the most helpful? I think the most helpful were the helmets. If they didn't have helmets on, I would have just thought, ooh, maybe he went on a walk and he just fell. Okay? The helmets were very good. Do you guys see how I did that? And my inference for this picture was that the man fell off his bike. All right, so let's look at another picture here. My reading voice tells me that there's grass, there's a person that looks like a jersey is on him. I see a soccer goal in the back here, and I see trees. I don't see anybody else with him. It's my reader voice is telling me. My thinking voice here is telling me, why are his hands on his head? Okay, what is the person doing? He's laying on the ground with his hands on his head. How does he feel? I don't think he feels happy. I don't think that this person is feeling excited. It makes me think, based on this soccer goal back here, that maybe he was the goalie, or maybe he was one of the players trying to score a point, and he didn't do what he wanted to do. He missed the shot, or he let a ball go in his goal. And that's making me think that the person probably feels really upset, or maybe even angry. Okay? Think about this picture. What detail was most helpful for you? Okay, what detail in the picture? Okay, for me, the most helpful detail was this jersey and this soccer goal. If it was just a field with somebody laying down, you wouldn't know that. The difference for this picture was the boy is upset because he missed the ball when it was shot in the goal. That's what I mean. All right, last one we're going to do together, and then you are going to do one on your own. Here I see with my reading voice a girl, and she's standing smiling really big. She's something in her hand, and I see two people behind her, and it looks like they're holding a glass. Describe the clothes you see. She's wearing a dress, and the people behind her are wearing shirts and pants, and I think this woman's wearing a skirt. All right. The decorations are there's a lot of red in this picture. Looks like maybe some lights here. Looks maybe like a chandelier. I see something back here, like a metal something. I see some glasses. What does the little girl have in her hand? Any ideas here? We just look at this. Let me zoom it up a little bit. Let's zoom. Ooh. That kind of looks like a gingerbread cookie. You see here where there's the legs and the arm, and here's a head. Maybe there's white frosting on it. Ooh, I wonder if these are cookies. What time of the year is it? Now, I'm trying to think, when would I wear a dress? When would we be eating gingerbread cookies? I know that when it's Christmas time, I go to my grandma's house and we make gingerbread cookies. I wonder if it's Christmas. I'm going to have to say this is Christmas time. Okay. What picture details are most helpful? I would have to say that the gingerbread cookie kind of gave it away. I don't think you'd eat a gingerbread cookie for Valentine's Day or for Easter or 4th of July. I think you'd have to eat a gingerbread cookie during Christmas. Okay? What you are going to do for your assignment. My inference for this picture was it is Christmas time. My inference is you are going to have a picture. I don't have one here, but let's pretend this is a picture. And you are going to take this picture and you are going to have your reading voice and your thinking. And down here is your inference. And you are going to tell me things that you are thinking about in your reading voice, things you're thinking about in your thinking voice, based on the picture here. And then when you're all done, you are going to tell me what your inference is. You are going to look at a picture, tell me what you're thinking in your reading voice, tell me what you're thinking in your thinking voice, and your inference based on the picture. All right. If you have any questions, please email me.